Another complete freak has jumped into another important GOP primary, and I'm sure you're just as shocked as I am.
I feel shocked.
Let's take a step back for a second before we get to who it is. Do you remember a much more innocent time, 2010? A Republican was running and had to do an ad saying that she wasn't a witch.
I'm not a witch. I'm nothing you've heard.
Especially because this woman was going up against Mike Castle, an incumbent congressman in Delaware, a governor, a guy who's a direct descendant of Benjamin Franklin, senior member of Congress, and of course, I can't even remember her name.
I'm Christine O'Donnell.
But that's sort of the point. She beat him in the primary. That was shocking back then. Now it's like every day. This party attracts freaks.
Today, your poll numbers behind President Trump have been pretty substantially behind. And you
Not here.
Like the Ravagers. Ever see Guardians of the Galaxy? To pick a couple people, Christina Caramo. She's currently the head of the Michigan Republican Party. She ran for Secretary of State last time around, claiming that demons could cause sexually transmitted diseases, and she allegedly threatened to kill her family. She lost the Secretary of State's race. She got sanctioned by a judge for lying left, right, and center. And of course, the Michigan Republican Party saw fit to making her the chair, because that is today's Republican Party. And now we can get to the good stuff. The person who's running is Tan Woman. Do you remember Tan Woman? A couple of years ago, she went internationally infamous for the fact that not only she spent a little too much time in the sun, I think she's going to need a lot of aloe vera, but she took her 5-year-old to a tanning booth and had her 5-year-old fake tan. This became, of course, a huge scandal. But she jumped in against Rick Scott in Florida. Now, it is a huge scandal. She is unfit to be a mom. She's unfit to run for anything, but of course she chose to run as a Republican. Fits right in with the sociopaths and the loons and the Ravagers. In fact, she looks like Taserface. Have you ever noticed that? But she's running as Rick Scott, and he looks like the alien from Men in Black 2. Rick Scott is talked about completely eliminating Social Security and Medicare. Is that any less sociopathic than putting a 5-year-old in a tanning salon? Committed the biggest case, allegedly. He actually took the fifth, 100 times. Probably broke a record. The biggest Medicaid fraud in U.S. history. He's only won his elections in Florida, 2 of them by less than a point.
Rick Scott makes Ron DeSantis look good. He's a guy who wanted to cut Social Security. He wanted to cut Medicare. By the way, Florida, big senior population, terrible stands here. Rick Scott has never won a statewide race by more than a point. 2010, horrible Democratic year, Tea Party wave. He only wins the governorship by a point. 2014, a horrible Democratic year. The Democrats lose control of the Senate. The Republicans won the governorship by a point with Rick Scott, 60,000 votes statewide in a horrible Democratic year. In fact, Rick Scott was so unpopular that we have 120 state house seats in Florida. There were 16 state house seats that day that voted for the Republican and elected a Republican to the state house and voted for the Democratic nominee. 2018, he beats Bill Nelson by 0.6 of a point. So he is much weaker than the Republican numbers. Let's say Trump is the presidential nominee and he wins Florida. He gets 53% in Florida. Scott will be under 50. I'm telling you, there is 4% on average that will vote against him, that vote for other Republican candidates.
Phil Ayer, a former Navy hero, running against him as a Democrat, and the first poll is up 46-44 in Florida on him.
There's one declared candidate right now who appears to be a very strong candidate, Navy veteran Phil Ayer.
I think he's really well versed on the issues, has the right profile, the kind of profile, quite frankly, we needed to recruit more of in Florida. A military veteran. I love Phil Ayer's profile, and I think he potentially can be a very strong candidate.
So what does this all tell you? Again, this is the Republican Party, whether it's alien-looking Rick Scott or Senator Tan Mom, or whether it's Christina Caramo and her sexually transmitted demon diseases. That's the modern Republican Party, MAGA Republicanism for all of you. That's what it is. You'll probably want to vote against it next year.